kidney stones. I'm going through one right now from 8th of May. That's where my ureteroscopy surgery is about to be performed. Damn, it's good to be back. So, kidney stones. I told you guys I'm gonna give you an update, so here it is. The stone, unfortunately, didn't pass on its own, so I had to do the ureteroscopy. The surgery is done, now I'm post-surgery. The stones are effectively lasered, broken into little pieces and out of my system. But even with this surgery, there are some challenges, and I'm gonna tell you about it. So in the morning of 8th of May, the schedule for my surgery, the doctor still contacted me and he was like, "Do you have any symptoms?" And I was like, "No, not anymore. Maybe it passed on its own, hopefully." So he told me to go to one of the clinics that he's working at. So I was like, okay, let's do it, man. We did an ultrasound and at first he couldn't actually see the stone. My bladder was really full, so I had to empty some of it. That was the first challenge of the day. I had to like stop midstream and go back into the ultrasound room. I somehow managed to do it. I went back and he was like, "Yeah, no inflammation on the kidney, nothing, it looks good." And after thorough search, he was like, "The stone is still there, unfortunately." So we go with the first plan and actually have the surgery. My girlfriend was all there comforting me. We actually decided to walk from the clinic to the hospital. I already had all the clothes I needed, so I was respecting my schedule. At 4 p.m., I was at the hospital ready to check in. It took a little bit of time to take me in, but I think at 5 p.m., as I remember. By the way, I haven't slept that much the night before because, of course, I was worried about the surgery. They took me in. They had to do the whole paperwork first, and then my mother and my girlfriend could actually see me in my salon. They gave me the shirt, which is basically a piece of cloth in front of you, and they were like, "Okay, we're gonna do the paperwork for the surgery, we're gonna prep the surgery room, and we're good to go." The thing is, the surgery was scheduled at 8 p.m. So my mom and my girlfriend were able to come see me before the surgery after they checked me in. So we were sitting there, they were trying to encourage me. I was so freaking scared. I was just walking around scared in my flip-flops. And it took a long time. Like, the surgery was supposed to be at 8, right? And it's 7:30. Good thing from the hospital staff that they let them stay with me past the visitation time, which was 6 p.m. So we were sitting there at 7:30 and we were waiting. And at some point, someone came in and they were like, "We're ready." They took me down to a salon that was near the surgery room. They put a cannula in my vein, so, you know, they have constant access to it for medicine, all the IV stuff. And then it was time for anesthesia. Mind you, I did not do a general anesthesia. Turns out it wasn't needed, so don't panic just yet. And apparently it's more taxing to the body. But instead, I did a spinal anesthesia. It sounds scary, but it's not that big of a deal. The anesthesia was fine, but the doctor who was performing it was warning me. The first stab, you're gonna feel it. They have to do a local anesthesia before they do the spinal one, so you don't feel anything. So that first stab really hurt. You have to stay like this in a way so your back is elongated. There was a nurse in front of me trying to keep my neck right here. Also in a way trying to comfort me. I was able to put my forehead on her shoulder and they stabbed me with it. I felt it, the needle, but it was just a brief, I don't know, 5 seconds. And then I was starting to sore up, so I didn't feel anything in my back. At one point they said, "Okay, we actually administered the anesthesia. You didn't feel anything." And they were like, "Put your legs up." I was already sitting on the surgery table. "Put your legs up because you won't be able to in a few minutes." So I just put them up and I could feel them getting sore and I would not feel anything. I couldn't move one finger. So they were doing all their preps, all their tables around me. I thought I would be more scared than I was, but it was pretty okay. The whole atmosphere, I mean. So they put a blanket on me. They put something in front of me so I don't see it. It's like a really miniature curtain. The left hand, which had the cannula, was on my chest. They were like, "Can we trust you to keep your hand here and not move it? Otherwise they have to tie it." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll keep it here." My right hand, that tied it to like a small table. The funny part was my arm was so big that they couldn't actually tie it down. And they were like, "How many inches is your arm?" And I'm like, I was hoping someone at the gym would ask me that, not on a surgery table. and the doctor started putting a monitor near me, which I could actually see, but it's a monitor to my insides in a way. I couldn't see what he was performing in there. So I don't know if they put my legs up or anything because I wouldn't feel them, but I could see on the camera he was already inserting the scope. I did not feel anything. That was the best part of it. Except for the fact that it was so cold in that room, man. You were naked in such a cold room. That's how they have to do it on surgery. So with my blanket, I was at one point a bit shaking and I was like, okay, I'm a bit cold. And they brought me a small thing that would produce heat, like a tube, and I was keeping it on me with this head. That helped a little bit. And I could see the doctor searching the stones with the scope. It's nothing scary, it's literally a pink tunnel You don't see anything really weird in there. And the funny part of it, whenever he saw a stone, he was like, Ray. And I could see on the ceiling something lighting up, like a spot of light. And I think that was the laser, which was basically breaking my stone into pieces. And I could see in slow motion on the monitor my stones breaking up into small pieces. So I was like, whew, I did not go into that small chance of just placing the stent and doing the surgery further. No, they just did the surgery right now, so we're done with it. The surgery itself was like 20 minutes. The prep took a long time. Even the doc complained a little bit about that. After that, they basically put a stent in you and a catheter because you can't pee by yourself because you're basically numb. It sounds scary, but there's no pain at all. The only pain in a way I felt it was my abs because I was trying to move around without being able to move my legs, and my legs are freaking heavy. So after the surgery was performed, the doctor came here. I was sitting on my back and he was right here. Hey, I basically removed your stones. I put a stent in. You have to keep that stent in 3 weeks. We'll get to that. So after the surgery was done, they moved me to the intensive care. I have no idea how these two fellows were so strong that they moved me from the bed to the stretcher, but they did it so fast. They basically move you in with the blanket. They sent me to the intensive care. They put me on a bed there, right near the entrance. That was funny because I could see other people coming in, all covered up and stuff. Really, really clean, really chill environment in there. Some people were sleeping from general anesthesia. Some people were just waking up. Some people were sleeping because they were exhausted or something. So there I was, moved into a bed there, unable to move my legs, just sitting on my back. They just gave me IV medicine and all that. Also, they checked my tension, which is pretty high. It was high in actual surgery, I think because of my nerves, because I was a bit scared, but they had a bit of a trouble bringing it down. So I just stood there waiting for my legs to feel like some movement. The doctor, which is a very nice urologist, just came into the intensive care and was checking up on me. He was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm just chilling. And he told me, yeah, we got rid of everything. You're okay. You're just gonna have to recover. I'll talk to you in the morning and we'll see what we have to do next. And he patted me on my leg saying congratulations, but I couldn't feel the pat. So I was like, I assume you patted me on the leg. I stood like 4 hours in the intensive care because the anesthesia worked like a long time. And after the nurses checked if I could barely move it, like just my knees a little bit, we can send him to the salon. They just unplugged me for everything, moved me to a salon. Also, with the two strong fellas that I was telling you about, they moved me to the stretcher and then the salon because I couldn't move. I could get up basically at 7 a.m. That was it. All night I was sitting on my back in the bed. I could control the height and everything. I had the television, I had my phone. So I was put on the medicine with my catheter near me. That was basically draining my urine. My doctor said that the urine was looking fine. The nurses were really nice. They were checking up on me frequently. I also had a phone with which I could call them if I needed anything. A pretty chill night. I got to sleep here and there, but I was waking up because of my own snoring and also some stingings down there, minor ones. And then the morning comes. And this is in a way the bad part, okay? Okay. Because they had to remove the catheter. I had to pee on my own. Oh my freaking god. To all the men out there, if you're going through this, I feel you. It's insanely painful. I mean, it doesn't last long, but it is painful. They just had to pull it out, right? So there was a male nurse coming in there and I was like, okay. Very gentle, but at one point he was, you have to count to 3 and breathe in. And I was like, okay, but when he was saying this, he already grabbed it and he just like slightly grabbed it. But I was like, oh shit, what the is going on? He's like, I know, relax, breathe in, 3, 2, 1, and he yanked it out. Oh my freaking god, that was so painful. Like you feel like he pulled a shard out of you and you feel like you have to go to the bathroom now and you have to pee like 4 liters. It's not the actual case, it's just a sensation. I told him, okay, I cannot get that sensation out of my brain, so please let me go to the bathroom. And they were like, okay, we're gonna unplug you from the IV so you can go. I went there in the bathroom and I stood there for like 4 minutes just to relieve all that pressure. Nothing was coming out, so I was like, okay, the pain subsided, I can sit down. So I was sitting down on my butt because I could now. It was quite a good feeling to stretch my legs finally. But then the real issue was, if you want to get checked out, you need to pee by yourself. And you need to let the nurses know that you did. So, like everyone says on Reddit, that's the worst part. Worse than the kidney stone. But don't panic. I'm gonna tell you the whole thing. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So I knew my girlfriend would just storm in the hospital and do everything she can to check me out. So I was, okay, I have to do my part and pee. I stood up, be brave, rough. You have to do it. And it felt so bad. You feel a big sting down there. The doctor already told me because he came to see me in the morning at 7 a.m. right on the clock. You're gonna feel some pain in your back when you pee, like when you had the stone, because it's basically the stent. And the worst thing about the stent is because it's unnatural, but the stent is really your friend because it calibrates your ureter. And from what I understood from the doctor, my ureter was going on like a weird loop. And that's why I didn't have enough pressure to push the stone out. And maybe that was also the cause of it. So he was like, I'm putting the stent to just like make it straight as it should be. And I could feel the pain in the back when I was peeing. It was the sting down there that was worse. The pain, it was manageable. Or so I thought, because I was on a lot of medicine from the IVs. So I peed and I told the nurses, yeah, some blood came out. And they were like, yeah, it's okay. You could pee. Okay, good. We're getting the paperwork done to get you out of here. And then my parents and my girlfriend drove me home, came back here, and I needed to pee again. And from all that pressure, it hurt so bad that I felt like my back was clenching. That was by far the worst part of this whole experience. Anyways, we got over that. Doctor prescribed me to get some alpha blockers in the morning because it will help with this. And by the way, some people in, I think, US call it Flomax. Take that, you're gonna be okay. I got some antibiotics so I don't get an infection. And the first 2 days, I'm not gonna lie, the pain was real. I was almost not drinking liquids just to not feel the pain. But you have to. The more you pee, the less pain you will feel along the way. But yeah, it got better. And if you're going through this, it will get better. My stent is the easiest one from what I understand because it's made of rubber. So essentially I don't feel it in any situation like sitting or sleeping or sitting on my back. I just feel it when I pee. But after that it's worth it because you'll feel completely normal. You're just gonna have minor back ache when you pee. But it's just for like 10-20 seconds at most. But there is one more step, which is removing the stent. I heard online that I'm gonna feel like $1 million when I remove it. So I'm gonna have to do that procedure as well at the same hospital, but that will take 5 minutes of sedation. They asked me if I wanted local anesthesia or sedation. I was like, I stood awake and withstood a fair amount of pain. I don't want that anymore. So just sedate me and just get it out. So they're basically putting me to sleep for like 5 minutes. I never did anything like sedation or general anesthesia, so it's probably gonna be funny. So yeah, I'm gonna have to remove the stent, probably the last week of May, and then it's gonna be all over. So yeah, for whoever had stones or is having stones, there are solutions. The ureteroscopy is not painful. You don't feel anything, even if you don't do the general anesthesia. The next morning, the pain sucks, the stent sucks for 2 days, and then you're good to go. But I'm just glad that the whole story of these stones is basically over. So I thank you all for being a part of this journey with me. Thanks a lot for stopping by. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay healthy, stay hydrated, and obviously I'll see you next time. Peace!